In this video, I'm going to share with you why you have to change the story that you are telling yourself if you want anything in your outside world to change. The unwanted conditions, circumstances, the relationship, whatever it is, the health, whatever it is, you have to change your story first. And I'm going to show exactly why and how this has been demonstrated in my life over and over again, so that you can start applying this change now. When you change from the inside out, your life will transform so much faster. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Kirsty Elizabeth. Welcome to the channel. If you're returning, thank you for coming back. I help people awaken their true self and activate their hidden potential. So on this channel, I talk all the time about transforming your life from the inside out, because it really is the only way you can do it. Nothing can change outside of you until you have changed who you are being, how you are thinking, and how you are acting from the inside out. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to offer you a free gift, if that sounds like something you love. I have a free 5-part workshop called 2025, the Pre-Game. It's perfect if you are committed to creating a radically different year in 2025 and you're ready to get started right now. You don't need to wait until the 1st of January to massively change your life. You can start right now. And I'm inviting you to do that with this free gift that I have for you. I'll link it up in the comments. You'll get instant access to it. And in it, I share the unconventional way to radically changing your life in 90 days. I have had so many raving reviews from that, so I'm excited for you to try it. So back to the video. It is so easy to live from the outside in. It's what we're used to doing, isn't it? We see things happening in our reality, in our experience. We observe things and then we create a meaning based on that. That must mean this about me. That must mean this about life. That must mean that it's really hard. That must mean that I can't do it. That must mean that no one likes me, that I'm a failure, etc., etc. You know, fill in the blank. But if you're watching this video, it's extremely likely that you understand law of attraction, you understand manifestation, you are learning about consciousness and spirituality. And so you already know that it's actually an inner world that we're creating, and the outside is simply the reflection, right? So the story is something that is so important. It's our narrative of what is happening. And so many of us create that narrative based on what we're observing, when what we're observing is a reflection of what's inside of us. So all it is a reinforcement of the ideas, usually the false beliefs and the false ideas about what's going on for us in our reality. And then it creates like proof to say, yep, it's true. And then it reinforces the belief, which then creates the same reflection, which reinforces the belief. And it's the loop that we get stuck in. So we really have to have the courage to break that pattern, to actually stop repeating the same thing on repeat, like a broken record over and over again. And we have to start creating a new truth. And the story that we tell, the narrative that we use, is really a way of reinforcing a belief, limiting or otherwise. It could be an expansive belief. It's what we can use to reinforce a positive new belief, right? It's our inner dialogue. It's that thinking that's going on in the background all the time, that just the constant narrative, right? So how this has transpired in my life is I was running a business with a friend. It was successful. We'd had it for several years, and then all of a sudden it started dropping out of nowhere. Like the sales started going down radically every single month for months on end, until after about 6 months, we couldn't get paid anymore and the business was about to go under. So our narrative at the time was, of course, fear-based. We were looking, we were observing. I hadn't learned about all this stuff at this point, and we were observing what was happening, and we were just feeding that into our reality, feeding it in. And so we got really stuck in the zone of lack, scarcity, everything's going wrong, everything's going down. And it really did continue to do that until we started learning about this stuff. I went really deep into mindset, manifestation, law of attraction, subconscious mind, self-image. And so then we started creating from the inside out. And our story was one of the biggest things we had to watch and change. So instead of focusing and telling the story of how everything was just an absolute nightmare and a shit show, quite frankly, we then started to tell the story of how we were so grateful for our clients, our customers, that were still making purchases, still making sales every day. Even though they were radically less than they were, we were being thankful. We were telling the story about how we're so lucky to be self-employed and we don't have to sit in the commute and we don't have to do all these other things. You know, we don't have bosses. We get to work the hours that we want. We get to do what we want. We started telling the story, helping us really fall back in love with the business, fall back in love with the process of selling our amazing products and really, really changing, getting ourselves into a state of positive expectation, of anticipation, of excitement. And very, very quickly, things started changing. It was literally just in a couple of months' time, the sales started going up. Within about 3 months' time or 4 months' time, they'd doubled. And then they doubled again. And we hit what we'd planned to at this point, because we were doing it from the inside out. So we decided to pick a goal of £1 million that year in sales, which we'd never done before. And considering we were about to lose a business and hadn't been paid, then it seemed quite unrealistic. Well, unrealistic is an understatement. It seemed impossible. But lo and behold, we did it within 12 months of setting that date, setting that goal, and deciding to change all of the inner talk to really change how we were showing up on the inside. So had we continued with that old story and narrating based on what we were seeing, not realizing we were creating what we were seeing, then that would never have happened. It couldn't have happened energetically. We weren't a match to it, and we were actually attracting something very different. So another example I've got for you is me healing from chronic fatigue syndrome. So when I first discovered that this is what I had, I, of course, jumped on the internet, was doing lots of research, all the rest of it, got really, really involved with that. And I suddenly realized that I was starting to take it on as an identity, which I did not want, because I knew what that meant. So instead, I kind of separated from it a little bit in my mind, and instead looked for the ways to support myself and heal, because this is obviously affecting you physically. So there are things you need to do and take action on physically, as well as there was a lot of emotional stuff I needed to work through. There was some old trauma that had been suppressed, that hadn't been healed, that I had to work through. So while I was working on all of these things, I was also waking up every single day just exhausted, just like, I could just about walk the dogs twice a day. And that was about it. That was my lot. I couldn't really do a lot else. So I had to start telling myself a new story. So as I was healing my body emotionally and physically with the things that I was giving to it and nourishing it with, I was also healing my mind, healing my story, healing, that aspect of myself. And so I started telling the story of how everything's getting better, about how I'm waking up and I'm getting more energy all the time. I was also making sure that I was looking for the good in every day. So looking where I was making any tiny improvement was enough for me. I was happy with that. And so I really focused on that. I focused on the fact that I was healing, I was getting better all the time. You know what Tony Robbins always used to say, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way I'm getting healthier and healthier. I kept telling myself the story that this is just temporary, fully accepting where I was, fully giving myself the rest, giving myself the compassion, the self-love, the grace to allow myself to work through this, but consistently sticking with the story that everything was getting better all the time, constantly celebrating any little thing that I was able to do, whereas before I wasn't able to do it. And that completely changed my focus, completely changed my energy. And I found that the transformation in just a few weeks is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But I could have been doing all the physical things and all the emotional things, all the healing things. If I stuck with the old story that I'm exhausted, that this is never going to end, because it really feels like that, like it's a really awful thing to live with and try and overcome. But if I'd stuck with the story that this is it, that this is all I've got now, and there's nothing else I can do, nothing's working, then even if the things were working, my mind would have made sure that that played out. My subconscious beliefs are always going to create my reality. Same for all of us, right? So we need to really align our story, especially when we're making the physical changes in our life, to actually create something different. We have to have our beliefs match up to it. We have to have our identity match up to it. We have to see ourselves as that version and keep telling that story. So I hope these two examples have just given you an idea as to how you can use your story, how you can use your inner narrative, your focus, your attention to really help you overcome whatever it is you're struggling with at the moment. What has come up for you while I've been sharing those stories? Where could you have been leaning so much into the story that you've not allowed the progression, the healing, the changes to actually come through in your life? Have you been blocking it because of the story that you're telling, even though you're taking the actions and doing the things to move you through whatever challenge you're in at the moment? So look at your story. What are you telling? What is on repeat all the time? What comes out of your mouth when you speak to your friends, to your families, to your loved ones? Are you constantly complaining? If you're constantly complaining, that means you're bought into the old story, which means you're reinforcing it, and it's going to keep coming back as a reflection in your life. We have to get on board with the fact that our words, our energy, our thoughts, our beliefs, our stories are powerful, and they are literally creating your reality. So I hope this has helped you. I hope it's given you some good insight. And as I said at the beginning, if you are ready to create a massively different 2025, you're ready to transform your life from the inside out, then make sure you sign up to 2025, the pregame. It's completely free of charge. I know you'll love it. I absolutely loved creating it and got so much value for myself for just creating it for you guys. And it's helped me make so many changes inside and really gear myself up to starting 2025 as a completely new version. I'm already a new version, just a few weeks later from doing it. So if that sounds good to you, go grab it. It's completely free. Enjoy and come back and let me know how you got on. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give me a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and you will hear more content like this from me. I'm releasing new videos every day until the end of the year. Take care. Sending lots of love. I'll see you in the next one.